All right, welcome. So, is exercise necessary for your body? I just want to quickly talk about how exercise completely transformed my life, right? When I was 13 years old, I had basically done nothing with my life except I was playing video games a little bit more than 24/7. So, I was playing all day, but I was also sleep deprived, missing sleep to keep playing at night. That's why I said more than 24/7 because I was playing all day, but then some. And I was addicted to basically junk food, McDonald's, sugar, all the bullshit foods. And so I never really did anything with my life up until the point when I started exercising, right? There came a point when it was my 8th grade year of middle school, my last year of middle school. And I had essentially realized that not only did I waste a lot of time in my life and a lot of energy and just become a person that I wasn't happy to be, but also that I was out of shape, mentally in poor shape and depressed. I didn't feel like I had control over my emotions. Little 13-year-old me was Googling depression and shit and finding all of these diagnoses like bipolar depression, where basically it just means that one moment you're depressed, one moment you're really happy. And looking back, now that I realize, the reason I thought that might have been me was because I would always feel extremely happy when I was doing good habits. When I was out with my friends, when I was playing, when I was running around and exercising. But then I would go from that to feeling like absolute dog shit because, let's say, my parents, things weren't always great with them. So just some things were rough with my parents, and so that would put me in a negative state. Or I'd be playing video games all day and then I'd be in a dopamine deficit, right? But little 13-year-old me didn't understand. I just thought something was wrong with my brain. And so I decided I needed to do something to get my life together. And I had a friend who the year before was a total twig, was completely skinny, right? Everyone made fun of him and shit. I loved this kid to death, right? He's my best friend. But everyone was making fun of him and shit. And over the summer, he dedicated himself to his fitness. And he really got in shape over like 3 or 4 months, right? He really got in shape really quickly. And when we came back to school, everyone was like freaking out because this kid went from being completely skinny to totally jacked. He was the most jacked kid in our grade because we were in 8th grade. But like, he still is. However, at that time, it was a big deal for someone to have muscles, right? I essentially, from that point, quit video games and replaced it with my fitness, started prioritizing my fitness, and I started hanging out more with these new friends that I was starting to make, right? So the kid that I told you that got in shape over summer, he was one of my closest friends at this time, and then we had another friend that we always hung out with, and so we would basically hang out after school, usually at my grandparents', and then we'd go from my grandparents and like we'd all go home. I'd go with my dad to the gym, right? And so this became my life after a while. And of course, it didn't just go, I decided to get into fitness and I was in the gym, right? I decided to get into fitness and then I had to quit video games. So I sent a message to my friend who I was playing with at the time. And I basically just said, like, I'm not in a good place mentally and I need to prioritize my fitness and I need to get off video games, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not playing video games anymore. So that was basically it, right? Like, no hard feelings. That wasn't a problem. They were like, oh yeah, cool. Good for you prioritizing your shit, right? Like, that's awesome. And then that's what I did, right? I just went into, all right, fitness mode, right? Now I'm getting into fitness, right? And so I started doing like basic shit, like jumping jacks in my room, like push-ups and stuff, squats, sit-ups. We had 8-pound dumbbells. I was repping those out for 50. We had a barbell with like no weight. My dad taught me a couple exercises with that. But basically just basic shit. And then as I started getting into the flow of it, I was like, oh yeah, like I fuck with this. I like this. So, I started boxing and I started training in the garage because we have a punching bag, and I was really good, and I still am, but it was never one of my priorities to box. I just really enjoyed the sport. And so boxing, I didn't feel like I was making, not that I wasn't making progress, but I wasn't making the progress I wanted to make. I felt like I needed something more, right? And so that's when I remember in the middle of one of my workouts, right? I was training in the garage and I just decided, I'm like, oh, that's what I need. I need to go to the gym, right? I need to be in the gym. And so I went to my dad and I talked to him and I'm like, I want to start going to the gym, right? I feel like, and they were saying like, oh, well, you can exercise here, like you exercise here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I feel like I need to be in that environment. I feel like being in that environment will be a lot better. And I was saying like, there's more weights. I can learn there because it's set up to be, it's a gym, right? So I can learn more there, I feel like, and I'll be in that like zone to be able to train better and put more effort into it. And my dad agreed, right? So me and him, he got a black card at Planet Fitness and I was his guest, and we started going from that point on. And that's when I started. So after school every day, I'd hang out with my friends, and then from there I'd go with my dad to the gym. But this completely transformed my life in the way that I thought, because before this point, I had never really improved anything in life, right? Like I'd always had goals. I always had things that I was trying to do and trying to achieve. And I was always really skilled at things, and I was always very intelligent. I was always very good at learning. But I never applied myself, and I never created the mindset of that, right? I never created the mindset that supported that, right? But going to the gym caused me to start thinking like, oh, wow, like I can actually change and transform something in my life. Like I can take an action that results in me feeling better in the future, me feeling better about myself, me feeling healthier, me feeling more complete and more whole, and just becoming better overall, right? And this was the point when it shifted, that I was like, whoa, life isn't all about feeling good, right? Life isn't all about just feeling good and feeling pleasure all the time. Life is actually about doing the things that make you good, right? That make you better, right? Instead of trying to feel good now, you can engage in things that actually make you better, right? And that was like, obviously I was 13, so that was a big realization for me of like, wow, like life isn't set in stone. Like I can take actions that change my outcomes, right? And that shift in mindset completely changed my life in the sense that it sparked my entire self-improvement journey. Exercise by itself being the key factor and the foundation of my self-improvement journey completely transformed my life, completely transformed my thinking, completely transformed who I am. So before we get into why exercise is so good for you and why it's essential for the body, you guys can go ahead and check out the links in the description if you're interested in transforming your lives through self-improvement. You guys can work with me one-on-one in order to transform your lives, in order to implement the protocol and the process that I use for my journey and for making progress towards my goals. But without further ado, let's get into the actual video. I know a lot of this is going to be cut, but I'm 13 minutes into the video, so we're a little late to getting started, but it's okay. So why exercise is essential. Movement for the body is everything, right? The body has been created to move, right? The body has been created to engage in activity, right? Your brain has been created to engage in activity, right? The human vessel itself was created to engage in meaningful work. So when we become sedentary in our lifestyles, this is the reason I stand at my desk. This is the entire reason why I stand when I make these videos. When we become sedentary in our lives, and when our lifestyle is based in sitting for the majority of time, our bodies start to deteriorate and they start to break down, because the essential factor of maintaining a healthy body is moving it, is using it, right? If you don't use it, you lose it, right? If you aren't growing, you're dying. So if you aren't engaging your body, if you aren't actively moving your body every single day, right? People in fitness say you need a rest day. A rest day shouldn't mean you don't work out, right? A rest day should mean you take a break from weights, right? But you still need to move your body. You still need to engage the body, right? You still need to actively exercise in some way, shape, or form, because this is essential for the body, right? It is necessary for the body to be properly healthy, right? You won't be able to grow old without pain, without discomfort, without becoming weaker over time, unless you are actively moving your body every single day. and following that up with a proper diet, right? Making sure you're giving yourself the nutrition that you need in order to sustain that. But most importantly, moving the body each and every day, right? Actively exercising each and every day. So movement is essential, right? You need to be moving. You need to be actively engaging your body. So that pretty much answers our question in and of itself, right? Is exercise necessary for the body? Yes, absolutely, right? 100% it is. Because without it, the body becomes, like I said, sedentary. And that's when it becomes, that's when it starts to deteriorate and become weaker. The other thing is that it is a great outlet for energy, right? So especially for us men, we actually contain more energy, more drive than we're allowed to express in most situations, right? This is why I pursue a business, right? Because a business allows me to completely and utterly utilize all of my energy, right? Because nobody's sitting here telling me that I'm doing too much work, right? Nobody's sitting here telling me when I have to work. I can simply sit here and just work and engage and constantly put forth energy. But I'm also, see, the thing with the masculine desire and the masculine drive is you need to be putting forth energy towards something that you're building and creating, right? So if you're working a job and putting forth the same amount of energy, it is capping how much of that masculine drive you're actually expressing, because it's not putting it into something that's being created. You're putting it into something that was already created, and your service is essentially going nowhere, right? Your service is essentially just being returned to you in the form of a monetary value, right? But that monetary value is limited. However, when you're working on a business, you can fully express all of that, what is that masculine gift, that masculine drive and energy and desire to improve and work and put forth effort. You can express that masculine drive fully while also receiving the actual rewards associated, and that is the complete picture of the masculine drive. Is like, I want to work and create, but I also want to be able to experience that creation, right? So that's one full outlet. But oftentimes, and not even just men, but oftentimes we as humans aren't utilizing all of our energy, aren't putting forth all of our energy. And so this manifests in the fact that we are emotionally unbalanced, and the fact that we have mental health problems, and the fact that we create problems that aren't necessary, create problems that aren't really there. And so one way to fix and overcome this is by having a proper outlet for all of this excess energy, right? Exercising and training is the perfect outlet for any excess energy within the body. And so regularly exercising will ensure that you are actually utilizing all of your energy to its fullest and actually expressing all of this energy and getting it out, because it's not so good to hold it inside. If you think about holding an emotion, it's not good. You need to relax, let go, and release that emotion. So same thing with any nervous energy that builds up in the body. The best way to deal with and handle it is to exercise, move the body, and actually utilize it, right? Transmute that into active fuel and actually express that energy and actually allow the workout itself to be an outlet for that energy. The next thing is discipline, right? Exercise itself builds discipline. It forces you to build discipline. It forces you to embrace and embody pain and discomfort for the sake of growth over a long period of time, right? And it forces you to do so every single day. And the nice thing about exercise is you're constantly increasing the weight. And so it's constantly the same level of difficulty if you're doing it right? Which means that it never actually gets easy, right? So people say exercise gets easy. No, you got lazy, right? Although, not to insult anybody, because what they mean by that is that showing up to the gym is easy because they identify with it. Doing the workout is easy. But if the workout itself isn't still just as difficult as it was before, you're doing something wrong, because you always want to be increasing the workload as your skill increases, right? But if you're doing that properly, every time you go, it will be forcing you to build up your skill of discipline, right? Because you are being disciplined to push through what is seemingly a wall, seemingly discomfort, seemingly your limit, and actually breaking through it to create a new limit. The next and the last thing is progress, right? It creates a mindset of progress. Like I mentioned in my story about exercise and how it changed my life, it creates this mindset of being able to progress. It creates this awareness of, I can engage in effort that creates a different result for my life, right? And this mindset of progress can carry into every other part of your life. So what forms of exercise to try, right? So what are the actual options if you want to start exercising now, right? So the first one is cardio, right? Cardio is essential. Running, walking, swimming, all of it, right? Just getting out there and moving, right? Doing cardio. Biking is good. I love biking. But basically just move the body, get the heart running, get the blood flowing, get the blood pumping, right? Next thing is sports, right? So boxing, basketball, soccer, biking, extreme sports, and football. I know I mentioned biking with cardio, but it's on this list, so bear with me. Extreme sports like snowboarding, downhill biking, like mountain biking and stuff, football, whatever. So playing sports, right, is a form of cardio, and it's also extremely fun, right? It's actually really good for your mental health to play sports, especially with other people. But playing sports or doing cardio is a great way to move the body, get the blood flowing, get the heart pumping. I would actually say these two are essential. Even if you go to the gym, even if you work out in a different way, these two are actually essential, right? You should engage in some type of sport or some type of cardio activity, right? So if you don't do a sport, running or walking, but if you can, doing a sport is going to be your best option, just because this is the one that will build your body overall. It will build up your mobility, your athleticism. It will build up your cardiovascular health. It will build up your mind and your resilience. And it will also build up your strength and your speed and everything, right? It essentially builds you into an all-around athlete, whereas like just going to the gym, I feel like limits your capacity for growth and your capacity for creating a fit body. But the next thing is the gym, right? The gym is still absolutely important and absolutely essential, right? You still need to be lifting weights. You still need to be building muscle, building strength. But I think that it being paired with something like cardio or sports is essential. So there's the gym, and then there's calisthenics as an alternative for the gym. And then the best one, in my opinion, is actually just a combination of all of them, right? So the best way to start working out is to just do a little bit of everything, right? The best my mental health ever was, and the most progress I ever made was when I was training like sports pretty much all day, and then I would go to the gym in the free time that I had, come home, practice a little bit more, and then I had school and stuff going on, and then I'd run in the mornings, right? So I'd get a run in, I would be training and practicing sports, and I'd be at the gym. This was the best my mental health ever was, and the healthiest I ever felt. So that is something you can consider, but at the very least, just pick one and focus on it would be what I suggest, right? So how to actually incorporate exercise, right? And what I would say is actually just start with the easiest option, right? So if you're older, just walk, right? If you're older, take it easy and just walk, right? If you're younger and you're capable, do some push-ups, right? Like I said, when I started with jumping jacks and push-ups in my room. Complete bullshit, didn't really get me anywhere, right? But it was a start. It was somewhere to begin. And then the next day I came back and I was like, okay, well, this exercise doesn't really feel like it's doing much. It's kind of boring. Let me switch it up. Let me do something different. And over time, I learned what actually worked for me. And so just starting with the easiest option is the way that you can take the initial action that will get you into doing it. And then from there, it'll be easier to actually just go about creating a routine out of it, right? And so the next thing is make it a routine / habit, right? Make it something that is part of your day-to-day routine, that is part of your daily routine, and make it a habit. Make it something that you have to do every single day, right? Even if it's not like the gym every day, make sure that you're running if you're not going to the gym. Make sure you're engaging in some type of activity every single day, right? And the best way to do it is just make it a part of your routine. So fit it somewhere into your routine that you can have it there every single day and you can rely on it being there, so that when that time comes, it's exercise time and you know it, and that's the easiest way to stick to it and maintain it. And the last thing is make it fun. The reason I give you options for what forms of exercise to try is because the best way to start and the best way to stick to it is to make it fun. The reason I stuck to the gym was because there was never a point when it was hard for me. It was always something I wanted to do. It was always something I liked to do. So it was easy for me to make a routine out of it. It was easy for me to stick to it because I enjoyed doing it. So make it something that's fun. If you don't like the gym, I would still suggest push through and learn to like it. But if you're just starting and you don't like the gym, do a sport instead. Do something that's fun and engaging, because that is what will get you to stick to it. And what we're looking for, at least with this video, is longevity, right? What we're looking for is just exercise and engaging in exercise regularly enough that we can sustain our health over a long period of time, over the entirety of our lifespan. So that is all I have for you guys. And if you guys are interested in transforming your lives through self-improvement, or if you want to work with me one-on-one in creating a fitness routine, you can go ahead and click the top or the second link in the description below. And if you guys want to see any more content like this, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button. But aside from that, I'm out of here. Peace.